the Mamdani that we saw on the campaign trail, who was a lot more calm, who was a lot warmer, who was a lot more embracing, was not present in that speech. His tone was sharp. I think he was using the microphone in a way that he was almost yelling. And that's not the Mamdani that we've seen on TikTok and the great interviews and stuff like that. So I felt like there's a little bit of a character switch here.
That's CNN pundit Van Jones spelling out what we all saw last night. Zohran Mamdani's bridge-burning victory speech, a huge shift in tone from his kinder, gentler campaign persona. Let's bring in the host of the Prevailing Narrative podcast, attorney Matt Belinsky, and political consultant Michelle Backus. Thank you both for coming on. Matt, I mean, Van Jones, he wasn't almost yelling. He was yelling, not Van Jones, but Zohran Mamdani. He was yelling. He was kind of rudderless. You could just kind of see him in the marina, bouncing off all the boats, not quite sure where to focus the whole speech.
Yeah, Van Jones being one of the few liberal commentators that occasionally likes to live in reality, and he's living in reality and observing Mamdani here, because now finally the tenor of Mamdani's commentary matches the subject matter itself. Because if you actually look beyond the smiles, it's just communism with the smile, and he dropped the smile last night. But the subject matter is the same: bitterness, resentment, government confiscation of wealth for a forced egalitarian project, not really having a problem with jihadist violence, having a problem with a lot of law enforcement. So we saw him drop the mask. Now that he doesn't have to be personal, you see the bitterness and resentment that really drove his public policy program.
Yeah, and now he's talking about going after ICE. And you think, okay, that's going to work good for you. Morning Joe framed the election as a beatdown for the White House. Here's what they said.
They learned what we try to tell people in White Houses over and over and over again. You don't buy the place, you rent it. And if you go too fast, voters will knock you on your ass immediately. And that's what happened yesterday.
Yeah, I'd say he's on his ass.
I also looked a lot like blue states picking blue candidates. Michelle, what do you think?
Give me a break. This is such a stretch. You're exactly right. It's Democrat politicians winning in blue states and cities, similar to Kamala Harris winning those exact places in 2024. What's really concerning, though, about all of this is their little mention of the Attorney General candidate in Virginia, Jay Jones, and moreover, voters in Virginia seeing those text messages about him wanting to kill his opponent's children, and the voters of Virginia looking at that and then saying, "Yup, that's the guy I'm voting for." That's what's really concerning to me today.
Yeah, it really is. Meantime, I have Matt Walsh here. Matt, he's reading a quote from Zohran Mamdani, then he comments on it, followed by Ben Shapiro, who is just commenting on Zohran Mamdani. Watch.
We will prove that there is no problem too large for the government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about. Well, it's hard to think of a more un-American and delusional statement than that.
Many of the promises that he has made are third grade running for school president promises. Free ice cream for everybody and no homework was basically his campaign. That if he said affordability over and over and over, and then if he just threw out a bunch of random things that he will never be able to do, then he would be elected mayor, and it worked.
Yeah, a lot of people going after him, Matt. Does he define the Democratic Party as we sit here tonight?
That's tough to say. I certainly think in deep blue districts it does. And yes, the issue of affordability was definitely towards the forefront. But this was not an innovative campaign. He did not come up with new ideas. Pretty much just saying, I'm going to tax the rich more and give everyone free stuff. That's not something that just popped up as an idea last week. And like I said before, yeah, to a certain extent, he was able to put on a sheen. I find his smile to be quite disingenuous. I guess some other people didn't. But he rolled out a bunch of very stale ideas about government confiscation, socialism light, with this smile on his face. It worked. It could have been some other factors going on right there. The weakness of the other candidates, a little bit of a groundswell just around the marketing campaign, around Mamdani. But it wasn't really an innovative campaign. He's just rolling out the same old bad ideas.
Yeah, I wanted to play some of these far left podcasts and some of the bites we just did on Morning Joe, Michelle, because I think it's kind of instructive for us to hear kind of what everybody's looking at. Here's the far left podcast. It's called The Midas Touch, touting Prop 50 as really one of the great political accomplishments, of all time. Watch this.
Remember when all those pundits were saying that Prop 50 was never going to pass and no was going to wipe away the yeses for this mid-decade redistricting to respond with moral and formal authority to Trump trying to rig the midterms? And remember how California Governor Gavin Newsom stood up to Donald Trump, powerfully called him out and rallied the people of California and frankly, the entire country.
Yeah, pretty much everybody said this is going to be a tough row to hoe for the Republicans because 75% of the state legislature is controlled by Democrats. We all knew this going in, Michelle.
We definitely did. And I'm not quite sure why these liberal media hosts continue to prop up Gavin Newsom as if he's some hero. Let's be clear. Gavin Newsom, his state, California, leads the nation in terms of poverty and homelessness. So I think Gavin Newsom has bigger fish to fry. You mentioned his speech there earlier, not talking about the people of California, but talking about his own personal agenda, gearing up for 2028, and of course, hating on Trump. We all know Gavin Newsom cares the most about Gavin Newsom, and we're going to see that more here in the coming years as he preps for that presidential bid. I see it coming.
A lot of people would like an update from Gavin Newsom on the Pacific Palisades and other fire-torn areas. Michelle, Matt, thank you both.